What's kind of funny, at least about this set, is that I did have an opportunity when I was a kid to at least have 3 of them. But I didn't take up the opportunity because I wanted all 4. Hello fellow Ozians, I'm the Louisiana Quadling, a Wizard of Oz collector and enthusiast, sharing with you my thoughts, my collection, and a little bit of my musical talent with all of you. And welcome to the channel. Today we are talking about some music boxes that were made by Enesco. Now, while you might not be familiar with Enesco's music boxes, you're probably more familiar with some of their more recent products like Precious Moments and Jim Shore. Back in 1989, for the Wizard of Oz's 50th anniversary, Enesco, along with several other companies, made a lot of different merchandise to advertise and celebrate the film. Probably the most famous pieces that Enesco made that year was a collection of Jack-in-the-Boxes. That same year, they also produced 4 music boxes, each one featuring the Fab Four of Dorothy, Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion. Those looked very similar to the ones that we'll be looking at today, with the exception that the bottom was black and had a gold banner on it. Now, while I don't own these, I do own their sort of second edition, and that is these right here. These came out a little later in 1995, and they all came packaged in these cardboard boxes. And what's kind of interesting, at least about this particular period of Wizard of Oz merchandise, is that the pictures that they were using of the actors on all merchandise were screen grabs from the movie and weren't actual press photos, as most of the press photos that were taken for the Wizard of Oz were in black and white. And that is why today, virtually every single image that you see of the Wizard of Oz feels heavily photoshopped and is hyper-colorized, because those were all black and white photographs that they've now colorized. So it's at least interesting to see some different ways that they represented the characters with these early boxes. So let's open them up and see what you get. And here we have the music boxes out of their original boxes. And these are very similar but different to their first edition versions. These are slightly fancier, and I like them because they just kind of scream more Wizard of Oz than the first editions did, and I'll explain. So all of these feature this yellow brick road banner that wraps around the entire bottom section, and they all have the yellow brick road. The earlier edition of these featured a simpler yellow brick road that wasn't spiraling to them. It was just flat bricks going forward, so these are definitely fancier. I also like how they've included the lyrics to the songs at least that are included with each of the characters on them. That's pretty cool. Each of them also come with these little hang tags, sort of things. On one side it says Enesco Musical Society Certified Excellent, and on the back it says Enesco Small World of Music. These are typically missing whenever I see these up for sale, and you can see why, because they could easily get lost or separated from the music box, especially if you don't keep the original box. That kind of thing is definitely not probably going to stay with it. Another thing that I have not seen that often, and I also don't own, are the certificates of authenticity. And you can really tell that I'm absolutely devastated by this. Yeah, I don't care. So But there's also some other paperwork that they've included with it, and I do have that. And that is these little pieces of paper that tells you the name of the music box and also the tune that is played with each character. Dorothy is the only one that has a different song compared to the other three. The other three have If I Only Had a Brain, If I Only Had a Heart, and If I Only Had the Nerve. And Dorothy's plays Over the Rainbow. One of the things that I do like about these is how simple they are, and not everything in a Wizard of Oz collection has to be big, extravagant, and huge, and I think that's one of the reasons why I really like this set, besides the fact that I also had Dorothy when I was a little boy. This was one of the earliest pieces that I ever got in my Wizard of Oz collection. And this is not the exact one that I had when I was a kid. That one is long gone. At some point, she broke, and that was the end of Dorothy. 10 years ago, I set out to try and recollect pieces that I had when I was a kid that were either broken or damaged. And this particular set was one of those things that I definitely wanted to get the whole thing from. Now, what's kind of funny, at least about this set, is that I did have an opportunity when I was a kid to at least have 3 of them. But I didn't take up the opportunity because I wanted all 4. And it's kind of funny how, at least back then, when, you know, the internet definitely wasn't as big as it is now, finding something in person meant that you couldn't get possibly a whole collection of something, and you'd only get pieces from something. So you'd have to be at least a little bit more selective as far as which characters you would collect, or just what you would find in general. So it's really different being able to just, you know, go, well, if I only get one, I can still get the other 3 because we have places we can find them now. Thankfully, these pieces won't cost you too much if you are interested in adding these to your collection. Depending on the day and the seller, you could get them for as low as $10 each, or up to $30 each. What music boxes do you have in your collection? Comment down below. And if you liked that video, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe. New videos are posted every 2 weeks on the 15th and last day of each month. And if that doesn't satisfy your appetite for Oz, follow the link in the description to ozclub.org and join the International Wizard of Oz Club. Until next time.